Hello, hello, peace lovers and peacemakers, and those people who stand for fighting against justice nonviolently, fighting against injustice nonviolently. Welcome to this show. I'm Sara Jamshidi, and you are on Peace Mindedly, a podcast I feature peaceful bridge makers. Every Tuesdays and Thursdays for the previous 7 weeks, I've been here on Facebook Live to talk with you about peace, kindness, and compassion. Growing up during the most important revolution of our time in Iran, and then experiencing war firsthand in the war between Iran and Iraq, I understand the importance of peace, kindness, and non-violence during the hardships. Therefore, and the other thing is, we are in this era of COVID-19. So I decided to put my effort to just talk about what really matters to us during the hardship and during the chaos moments. I want to reach out to your heart during the vicious coronavirus. And I truly believe that our time is going to be divided between before COVID-19 and after COVID-19. And I'm hoping that we can learn from the experiences that we have been going through. So if you are watching this conversation on Facebook Live, please share this video right now. We need your help to spread the word of peace, nonviolence, and compassion right now. So I do appreciate to share this conversation on your Facebook timeline. We are about 2 minutes late, and it's my apology. So it was some technical issue that I needed to take care of. Thank you so much for being patient with me and with me. Basically, it was all my fault. But thank you so much for being here. Here, I would like to introduce my assistant producer. Hello, Salam, Matin. Matin, you are please unmute yourself because it is muted. Matin holds.
Salam, everyone.
Hello. Matin holds PhD in Islamic Studies, and for today's show, I think we are going to have a scholar who can chip in and give us her thoughts. So Matin is taking the questions and comments. Help me out to sort out whatever we need to talk about for this show. Okay, Matin John, stay put. For this hour, we are talking with three amazing women. Sheryl Olitzky is the executive director of Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom. In just a few years, under Sheryl's leadership, the sisterhood grown into a movement. Currently, the organization has more than 140 chapters in many cities in North America. I think Sheryl is going to tell us about how the organization is expanding. Sheryl has a marketing executive background, leadership and organizational skills, and passion to make ideas reality. She is very brave to take bold actions against injustice and hate, thrive to make her surroundings more peaceful. Religion and spirituality is important to Sheryl, and then she's going to tell us about the formation and what happened with Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom and what the organization is doing. My next guest, so I'm going to just welcome Sheryl very quickly. Hello, Sheryl.
Hello, thank you.
Absolutely. Very good to have you here. Sara Haidar is assistant director, chapter management of Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom. She has a strong sense of community. I'm gonna welcome Sara. Hello, Sara.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to see you.
Hello. She has a strong sense of community. Sara uses her leadership skills to play an important part in addressing Islamophobia within the context of peace and sisterhood. She was the founding Muslim co-leader for the Sisterhood in Houston chapter. She received the Houston Humanitarian Award for her work with the Sisterhood. Julie Plaut Warwick. Julie Plaut Warwick. Hello, Julie.
Hi.
Hello, hello, hello. Certified laughter yoga teacher and founding Jewish co-chairperson of the Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom in the greater Seattle area. Julie is the founder of Connecting the Pieces, where she manages workshops and sessions of laughter yoga. Julie has an intense passion for connecting people to themselves. She wants to help people to develop inner peace and create a collective goodness for themselves and for the planet. Okay, ladies, it's such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much. I'm truly, truly honored. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to start with the most difficult question. The question is going to go to Sara, and I am just probably merciless here. So I have to disclose that Julie and I manage the Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom in this greater Seattle area. So I do have some personal interest in having this discussion. So I opened up to our group, the amazing group of women. We are a few Jewish women and a few Muslim women. And then I just told them whoever has a question to just send my way, and I'm going to ask the question. One of these amazing people is Marlene Mayer. So Marlene writes, I am non-religion, agnostic Jew from a non-religious background. I have many relatives and friends who are religious. They are angry and afraid of being injured by Muslims. How can I convey the warmth and caring I have learned from my Muslim friends in this group? What are the words I can use to be a bridge to families and friends? So, Sara, you and I know that Islamophobia is serious. And then I want to see, what is your recommendation to Marlene?
So when we're talking about the preconceived ideas that the general public, and especially the two groups, Muslim and Jewish, have traditionally had about each other's communities, those are basically a derivative of media hype and politicization of geopolitical events. And once we step forward and actually meet on a personal level, where the sisterhood has enabled us in a way to connect on a human level first, building the personal relationships and connections so that we can interact in our shared humanity and learn that, there are no two ways to love a person. The way we get to know each other and build relationships will determine how we perceive each other in real terms rather than based on stereotypes and preconceived ideas. So the premise for the sisterhood is that through our efforts of meeting and connecting, we are able to build trusting, respectful relationships with people and help connect in a way that the two communities have not been able to, sitting in our own separate bubbles.
So Marlene comes to you and Marlene says, what should I say to these people who are afraid of Muslims? What do you tell her?
I would invite them to come and attend or observe a sisterhood opportunity. They don't necessarily have to join. They can just come and be part of the experience as an outsider. So they can see that there is no fear factor between our Jewish and Muslim sisters. We are very connected. We are able to respectfully engage and build friendships and lifelong relationships by working together.
So Sheryl, you started this, and it was important to you to address Islamophobia. Tell me the story. What happened and why you are excluding men?
So those are two questions. I'll start with the first one. And it all started in late 2009, early 2010, as I was leading a group of almost 40 people on a trip to Auschwitz. We had a local Polish guide, and as we're pulling into Auschwitz, I had the microphone and something was really bothering me. And the short story is I asked him why I didn't see anyone different, why I didn't see anyone of color, anyone of Asian background, anyone who is openly LGBTQ, why I didn't see anyone with a head covering, either a headscarf or a kippah on their head. And he looked at me and said, my dear, Poland is for the Poles. You mentioned a headscarf. We don't have a Muslim problem here because Muslims are not welcome. And as I walked through one of the worst places in the world, and that is Auschwitz, one of the worst atrocities the world has ever seen, I was really bothered by his words. I knew I had to do something. I had a calling. And at that point, I realized that I could not change history, but I could rewrite history by changing the future, and changing the future by putting an end to hate. That was my commitment. I came back. I called a local imam I knew, who introduced me to my co-founder, Athia. We created one little chapter of 12 women. A journalist covered us. It went viral, and the rest is history. We went from a small organization to a movement with over 8,000 women.
So why did you call it Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom?
Without offending any of our brothers who are out there, we know from neuroscientists that women's brains are wired differently than men. Women navigate the world through relationships. And it was our feeling, our strong feeling, that if we wanted to change perceived hate, negative stereotypes, prejudice, and turn that into caring and love, the fastest way we could do that was through those whose brains are wired through relationship building first.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on relationships, and then we focus on differences. We focus on challenges, and that was women. And as minority women and minority women of faith, we have a lot of challenges in bringing up families with a level of observance, however you define that. Challenges in navigating a calendar that is very different than our religious calendars. Challenges in dietary habits. So many, and challenges and pressure that's put on us, however liberal we are, that's put on us as being women who are responsible often for holiday observance, for the observance of religious upbringing of our children, taking care of our parents. And we share those commonalities that we don't share with others, including men. That's what brought us together, including the commitment that we have to ensure a better future for our children and our grandchildren.
So there is a power in storytelling. As you were explaining the story, I had a goosebump about the Poland and the Polish guys, and I want Julie to tell us the story of our chapter.
So our chapter started, 3 years ago? Something like that. And my rabbi, Johanna Kinberg, put something on Facebook that she was looking for somebody to help her on the Jewish end to be a co-chairperson. And I immediately raised my hand. I, in every sense of being, want peace. And I know in my heart that what Sheryl was saying with the relationships part, and women, we're going to change the world. And so I met with Chava, I'm going to say her name wrong, Montursky, to see if I can do this on the East Side in Seattle. And then Chava was friends with Sara because they had been working on this as well. And Sara and I met, and the rest is history. I had never had the opportunity to walk into a Muslim woman's home. Not that I never wanted to, it's that I didn't have the opportunity. And I walked into Sara's home and I felt so welcomed. and noticed that she's just like me. And we are fast friends, and I love how it's grown. We now have a steering committee of more people than just me and Sara, because Sara and I are very busy and things go through the cracks. But what I love is that we have more people organizing, and it's been fabulous.
I wanted to thank Elizabeth Page Cook, Mahnaz Akbari, and Zainab Khan. They are what Julie and I really opened to the group was, please help us, because it's a bit difficult for us. And then Liz managing the emails and Facebook. Julie does the Facebook. I mean, we manage what to discuss, what to do, and how to go about, and all of those. So I'm so grateful for the group that I have, and I do feel the sense of kinship and friendship in the group. And then probably this is what you were expecting, Sheryl. So I want to know what are some unanticipated pleasant surprise that came out of this Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom partnership and relationship. So what are the surprises that you have, Sheryl? I'm going to start with you.
I never expected to go from 6 chapters in 2014 to 25 in the spring of 2016 to 50 in November of 2016, to be on the front page above the centerfold of the New York Times in November of 16, to be on the Today Show, to all of a sudden take us to 100 chapters, and now in the summer of 2020 to take us to more than 175 chapters. I said women navigate the world through relationships. We go from bringing strangers together to turning them into friends, to turning them into true sisters. And this was a dream that I had. Never in my wildest dreams did I think it would blossom into such a movement of women who are changing the world. I also could never anticipate the level of hate that we are facing today. It was something that if you asked me, I would never anticipate it. But we have 8,000 foot soldiers on the ground who are saying, not to my children, not to my mother, not to my daughter, not to my granddaughter, not to all those babies that are out there and the babies that are yet to be born. It's these women and these teenage girls who are taking on hate stronger than I ever anticipated. So it's been an absolute wonderful ride to be on, to see it happening, to see women of all ages from 14 to their 90s stepping up in leadership roles and literally changing the world, one Muslim and one Jewish woman at a time.
One Muslim, one Jewish woman at the time, and now the Muslim woman. So what has been the unanticipated surprises of this partnership?
So it's interesting that the sisterhood came into my life at a time when geopolitical circumstances were very tense in July of 2014, and I attended an interfaith breaking of the fast iftar with 30 Muslim and 30 Jewish people coming together. And my first surprise was meeting somebody in that environment that I already knew through another networking opportunity. And it wasn't necessarily through interfaith channels that I knew Shelley, but I did know somebody already in that group, and we started talking. And when we were in that conversation, the local Houston Chronicle photographer took that picture, and that became the face of that interfaith interaction, which compelled me to look deeper into, being part of something in a more organized manner where the Muslim and Jewish community came together. And she and I were women who knew each other from a professional networking group, but we came together and became the face. And later on, when I did some research and heard about the Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom, I was really drawn to learn more. And it's interesting that our faith foundations, even the wording of a lot of our common values have similar language. So once I got looking at the Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom, just the word Salam, Shalom, very much the same parallels. Sadaka, there are tons of concepts and words and practices and belief systems that have so much more in common than I knew coming to this journey.
Absolutely. So much in common that you knew it's coming into this journey. So much in common. So how about for you, Julie? What were the surprises or common things or unanticipated surprises that you found interesting in this partnership?
So I think that it's been kind of with our chapter, kind of this up and down with membership and what are we going to do. And then all of a sudden, when we brought more people in, more people want to get involved. And now during COVID, where everything is on Zoom or wherever we are, we had an amazing meeting with people. There were many new people that were there. And to me, to have new people during COVID was amazing. And everybody is helping. There was one woman whose mother had passed away, and she talked about sitting a virtual Shiva, and we all came together to help her and to be there for her. She was new, but she felt so comfortable talking to us. So I think it's the idea of sisterhood, of peace, of coming together for peace. So, yeah.
Excellent. So right now I need us to take care of one technical issue. Julie, I think on your part there is an echo. So what I would like you to do, no panic, what I would like you to do is to just lower down the volume of your computer so then I do not have this background noise. The reason is this is for audio production, and then we just need to create a very good audio sound. Okay, so I want to know, we say Salam Shalom, and we say sisterhood. The words in itself has a tremendous power, in my opinion, and immediately connects people, but immediately connects Muslims and Jews. So Sheryl, why we are excluding Christians?
I addressed this a little bit earlier. And by the way, when we started, I didn't anticipate the significance of this for what we're facing today. But the Pew Research shows that those that hate Jews are the same people, for the most part, that hate Muslims and vice versa. The hate against both of our faith groups is unbelievable. And it is something that both faith groups share that is not shared with other faith groups. It's something that is a struggle that we all face. And it's something that we often face alone as these two faith groups. In addition, being a Jewish or Muslim woman of faith is not an easy thing to do in the United States or Canada, which is where the vast majority of our groups are. It's something that we face alone that is very difficult to share with those who are of a different faith group. So if our goal is twofold, one, to build relationships, and because of these relationships, to commit to putting an end to hate toward both faith groups as well as anyone else who is otherized, how are we going to do that as quickly as possible? We're going to do that with those who share the most in common with us. One, Muslims and Jews who are facing this problem. And two, women who are the most interested in overcoming any issues and problems because they want to build these relationships.
Yes, Sara, you were nodding. So you agree. What is your take on what Sheryl just shared?
So when you look at the world and the strife in the world, you realize that men have created a world that is based on greed and speed. And women have a different set of values that they bring to this conversation in their interactions. And we build from connection, we build from grace, and pace ourselves to develop something. We are natural nurturers. And the world is in need of healing through peace and love. And that's why the sisterhood becomes such a significant partner and mission in many of our sisters' lives, because we feel we can own our voice and make a difference in this world and present a different view of how to go about navigating life, because the existing structures are not always conducive to nurturing growth, peaceful connection, and love.
How come? Why the existing structure is not nurturing?
Well, a lot of it is, again, based on power and control dynamics. And if you look at the challenges, geopolitical challenges in the world, they are driven by power and control. Women's basic instinct is to nurture and connect instead of divide and control. So we bring a different perspective to solving problems in that context. And that's why I feel that the sisterhood has a prominent role to play in bringing people together and bringing peace in this world.
Excellent.
Can I add something to that?
Absolutely.
Real fast, Sarah? You know, if you look back at history, Jews and Muslims were so close. It was only political issues of the not so distant past that separated us, and it's politicians and it's media that further tries to separate Muslims and Jews. And for years, Jews and Christians, over 50 years, have really established very close relationships. For a number of years, Muslims and Christians have established close relationships. You did not see this happening in the United States and Canada between Muslims and Jews. There was a very big unmet need and gap there. And you saw nothing at all with Muslim and Jewish women. We are the first and still the only group focusing on it. So it's real clear that this was a gap that needed to be filled, and we stepped in to fill that gap.
Absolutely. So I have a very quick comment to share. The reason I decided to do this with Julie, the main reason is I know from my own experience that Jewish people probably are one of the communities who had experienced what the Muslim community are going through throughout the history. They have experienced Holocaust. They have experienced atrocious activities against the community. And then I thought, if there is only one community who understands my pain and my suffering as a Muslim in the United States, is the Jewish community. So that's why I decided, you know what, this is what I would like to do. So Julie, we are talking about women, and we are talking about women power of bringing people together. So what do you think about that? Are you agree? No, don't agree. What is your take on that? Julie, I do not hear you. So maybe no worries. We take care of this. I do not hear you. That's okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back to our discussion very quickly until Julie takes care of that. So ladies, please stay with me. Okay, so you are watching To Peace Mindedly, a podcast show featuring peaceful bridge makers. You are also listening to Peace Mindedly. So if you are watching, we are live streaming and we are taking comments and questions. Very quickly here, I wanted to play a comment that one of our audience shared here. Thank you so much, Emily. Emily Bird Hedrick, being a member of an SOSS, Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom chapter, is such a blessing to me. My SOSS sisters have sustained me since 2017 as I went through my husband's cancer and a subsequent death. They are such dear friends. They are sisters. Thank you to Sheryl and Sara, to Heba, to all those who organize and sustain this movement. Emily, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. I truly, truly appreciate that. So, like Emily, please do ask your questions. Mateen is here, and Mateen is an Islamic scholar. I'm sure that she has lots of ideas and comments about our discussion, but she's here to take the comments and questions right to us if you can. One of the questions, the kind of questions that I was thinking about is, my guest basically touched upon many of those, is there is animosity between these two groups, and the animosity, in my opinion, is coming from media presentation of how media is framing stories of these two communities. And I'm very, very glad that people like Sheryl and people like Sara are redefining the media narrative, and that is in itself very empowering. The aim at Peace Mindedly is to create a space for peace, for good fight, non-violent fight, and kindness and compassion. You can find Peace Mindedly on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and anywhere you choose to listen and to learn about your audio pleasures. For this hour, I'm talking with Sheryl Olitzky, Sara Haidar, and Julie Plaut Warwick. Mateen is helping me out. So Sheryl is the executive director of Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom, an organization whose mission is to create bonds of kinship between Muslims and Jews. Sheryl is also a board member of the Muslim Jewish Advisory Council and Jewish Muslim Alliance. She is a nominated change maker at the White House Summit on the United States of Women in 2016. She is the recipient of Making a Difference Award from the Russell Berry Foundation, as well as Jefferson Award for Public Service from the New Jersey Governor in 2019. Sheryl is the proud of UN BMW in Intercultural Innovation Award on behalf of Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom. Sara Haidar is the Assistant Director, Chapter Management for Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom. She oversees chapters' performances, and she helps with the remote chapters to just create a more sustainable presence within their own communities. Sara has been a passionate advocate in raising awareness about the rights of orphaned and neglected children in Muslim communities. She served on the founding board of New Start. Okay, I'm going to say this again. I'm so much about saying things right. She served on the founding board of New Start Kafala, the first Muslim adoption agency in the United States, and she is on the board of directors for Cultivating Families. Julie Plaut Warwick is a licensed health counselor and a certified laughter yoga teacher. Laughter yoga is a unique concept where everyone can laugh for no reason without relying on humor or jokes. It combines laughter exercise with yoga breathing. Julie's mission is to bring joy, laughter, happiness to people's life, especially those who are experiencing grief. Julie is the founding co-chairperson of Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom, Eastside at the Greater Seattle area. Now I am bringing my beautiful, wonderful guests. Okay, Julie, so we left off. So Julie, yeah, there you go. There you go. I got you. Hoo-hoo, yay! I got you. Okay, Julie. Our women are better what is the difference between men and women of organizing or moving some of these gatherings forward? So I think women are better. Our women are better, or what are the differences? Not better. Maybe it's a right framing. What are the differences between men and women who are organizing such gatherings?
So I believe that men are very linear, and they say, this is what we need to do, this, and this, but they don't necessarily think of the larger picture. And women, so there's a thing that said men and women's brains. So men, they take out their box that they need to go work, and they do their stuff in their work, and then they put it back in. And they take out another one, which is play. They play, they put it back in. Women's brains are more like spaghetti and meatballs. We have everything all together. We have maps that go up and down and through and around, and we think of the greater picture. So who would connect to who, and how, the ball of string and the web. I truly believe that it's a difference in our brains, and that women also have that nurturing. So while we can be powerful, we can also nurture the power.
Absolutely. So I do not want to exclude men. I married with one of those amazing men. I love him, and he is important to my life. What I wanted to mention here is, with the many of the guests that I'm talking to, especially yesterday, Zainab Salbi and some of those people, they keep mentioning about the new century of feminine century, or the feminine power, or women power, and we are seeing here. So that's why I wanted us to mention women power, and I also wanted to mention how we are in the era of COVID-19 and the era of George Floyd's death. I want us to see how peace and kindness can help us going through difficult times. So who would like to start?
I'll start.
Yes.
We know that ignorance is one of the major causes of hate. And it's not until we see the world through each other's eyes, we hear with our hearts instead of our ears, we listen to each other's stories, we respect the stories, we still may differ, but we've grown from those differences, that we will see the world as one, all of us as one, and all of us living in a world that this country was created to be, a world where we're all equal and a world full of justice. When we see the world that way, we rise up. When one of us is hurting, it's not that the other is hurting. When one of us is hurting, we are all hurting, and we work together to stop that hurt.
Absolutely.
That's the world we're living in right now. And what the sisterhood is demonstrating is how we could respond to that world to stop the hurt as one.
Excellent. Yes, there is an old saying, I said it once in the program, it's from Sadi, says that all humans are part of one body. Mm-hmm. If one part is ached, the rest of the body is in pain. Sara, so why do we need peace and kindness in the time of hardship and crisis?
So in a crisis circumstance that we're going through, everyone's sentiments are stretched, their resources are stretched, they are on edge. And when we can simply create the space to accept the vulnerability and humanity of each individual, regardless of where they're coming from, a simple act of kindness, a smile, a quick call to see how are you doing. I have had this opportunity of reaching out to some of my neighbors to make sure that, simple things like, I'm going to the store. Is there something you need from the store? Is there anything I can help you with? Every little thing that we can do to ease the pain of the people around us helps us build a much kinder and much better world. And I feel that we can't change the whole world, but with every little act of kindness, we can bring some joy, some peace, and some love into the world at whatever level we can.
Absolutely. So the simple act of kindness, laughter, and smile. And I know that Julie is the master of knowing many of those. So Julie, why do we need kindness, laughter, and peace?
Well, simply by smiling. By smiling, you get more positive about things, even when things are so bad. COVID-19, look at all these people who are dying and people who are safe in their homes. I don't want to say stuck, but safe in their homes. And just simply being positive and finding those silver linings. It's really important to find those silver linings of what's going on. I was part of a global peace meditation on Sunday where there were 31 countries that were represented and 80 people who meditated for peace. It's needed in the world. There are so many kind people out there. And I think that it is inside of all of us. We just need to bring it out and do a little smiling.
Absolutely.
Sara,
Yes.
both of our faith groups believe in something that is so critical that guides everything that we do as Muslims and Jews. And that is one who saves a life is as if they save the world.
Yes.
One who destroys a life as if they destroy it. It is as if they destroy the world. So one who saves a life as if they save a world. That is why basically we come together doing what we're doing. We're saving the world.
What is your recommendation about deepening this relationship between Muslims and Jews, Sheryl?
It's the primary thing that I say that drives the Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom. It's real easy to hate someone you don't know. When you know them, it's harder. And when you care and love them, it's almost impossible. It's our theory of change called contact effects and extended contact effects. We know we could stop hate between Muslims and Jews by getting every Muslim and Jew to care and love each other. And we know from contact effects, extended contact effects, and the research that's been conducted on us, that each person involved in a sisterhood chapter influences 23 others about the importance of interfaith engagement, Muslim and Jewish engagement, and stopping hate against each other. So think about it. 8,000 women times 23 is over 160,000 that we're influencing that are outside of the sphere of the sisterhood. So we, by getting rid of ignorance, by building relationships, by taking it from strangers to friends, to true family, to sisters, can stop the cycle of hate. And that cycle is just out of control right now. We know we have the answer. We've proven it.
Excellent. Sara, how can we deepen the relationship?
The relationships are the lifeblood of our sisterhood, of any, my personal sentiment is in order to have a relationship with anybody, you have to first respect each other. If you respect each other, you can build on that to develop mutual trust. Once you have the trust, you can build on the trust to develop an understanding, and that mutual understanding can then lead to mutual love. So coming from the contact theory or coming from this relationship theory, the objectives and the paths are the same. The sisterhood has helped us develop that platform where we have an opportunity to get to know people we didn't know before. We have gotten to understand their view of life and in the process expanded our own view. And when we connect and do things together, we go out in the community and serve together. We sit down and connect with our deeper thoughts. We bake bread together. We break bread together. We, get together in terms of serving or standing up against hate. Every such interaction builds deeper bridges and relationships. I have a phenomenal relationship with one of my sisters that I met in the Sisterhood Chicago area. She grew up, obviously she grew up Jewish and I grew up Muslim, and we connected because we are both huggers. And in that hug, we developed a much deeper bond than our physical proximity allows us, than our faith background or upbringing allows us. But in that moment, we became true sisters of the heart, true kindred spirits, because we were open to sharing our heart with each other. And these are the kind of ways we help build those relationships and deepen those relationships so that we can stand together and have each other's back. You're not just somebody who grew up in my home. You're somebody I deeply care for. So if you are someone who is under attack from any source, I am going to be there for you because my well-being and happiness is tied to your well-being and happiness.
Your well-being and happiness is tied to my well-being and happiness. Thank you, Sara. So before we start this conversation and I booked my guests, I knew, and everyone in my group knew, that Sheryl needs to leave by 1:30 our time, 4:30 New York time. So here's what I'm going to do, and my executive order. I'm going to let Sheryl to share with us ideas and thoughts about peace. This is usually at the end of the program. Then I'm going to let her go and then come back here with my guests to continue to close the program. Okay, Sheryl Jan. We say Sheryl Jan in Farsi. Please, as a closing statement, tell us what you want us to know about peace, kindness, and compassion, if you want to share a prayer, statement, or a thought.
Absolutely. And thank you all for being part of this. You are the hope in these dark times. You are the light. So I go back to what I said a few minutes ago. It's real easy to hate someone you don't know. When you know them, it's harder. And when you care and love them, it's impossible. So I ask everyone to join me in that challenge of making it impossible. See the world through each other's eyes, not through your eyes. Listen to each other, share stories and listen to stories, and listen with your heart, not with your ears. Approach differences in beliefs, differences in actions, even differences in political viewpoints as something that is good and okay and something you can learn from and grow from. You don't have to absolutely agree with that person, but what I would ask you to do is to listen, to respect, and to grow from yourself and grow from that person. The number one commandment in the Torah, the Jewish holy source, is to protect the stranger. We were all strangers. It's mentioned more than any other commandment. And it's mentioned more than any other commandment because that is the tenet of Judaism. And I believe it's the same in Islam. We have a responsibility to take care of one another, to respect one another, and to protect one another. It is only then that this world will be made a better place. So I invite everyone to do such. Get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your bubble. We might not be able to physically be together, but there are so many opportunities to come together, practicing social distancing. I invite anyone and all of you to please come to our website, SOSS, the initials for Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom, SOSS Peace, PEACE.org. Enter comments, contact us. We will involve you in our newsletters, things that are happening. come to our Facebook group, Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom, or SOSS Peace. And please be part of this safe and brave space where you'll meet others just like you who want peace from all over the world. So
Yeah.
thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for this incredible session, for everything you're doing to make the world a better place, and for being a leader in the Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom.
Yeah, inshallah. Okay, Sheryl, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm staying with my other sisters. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Okay, so I'm just going to bring Mateen, Salam Mateen, and then I'm just going to open to this group. I wanted to see, so what are the so here's what I want us to do. We were talking about peace and compassion. Oh, I want to know Julie's idea. So Julie, tell me that what we need to do to deepen our compassion and understanding of others.
I think we need to listen to people. We need to truly open up our hearts and our ears to be able to hear the fear, and then take that fear and say, I'm the same as you. I'm a person who wants peace. And if we could truly understand it, understand from where they're coming, and then take a deep breath. And what Sheryl was saying about step outside of your comfort zone. And I think that's so important, is step outside of your comfort zone and take a deep breath and truly, truly listen to another human being. But first, I believe that the peace part, we need to understand and listen to ourselves. So peace starts, it's inner peace and then global peace.
Absolutely. So now Julie is surrounded by 3 Muslims.
Awesome.
I want to say Islamophobia is serious. And the threat and fear that we experience is serious. Especially my system producer has a scarf, and that is an immediate, target if it's in a very complicated group. I want us to see, but the other thing is, I'm asking from my Muslim friends, and the criticism I have is the Muslim community is not very active. They are not, at least in this greater Seattle area, as much as I see. So we have gatherings, we have, what should we Muslim, in your opinion, we Muslim need to do to more effectively address this Islamophobia and fear of being Muslim, you think?
There's several things that come to my mind. I think it may not be unique to the Seattle community first, that the Muslim communities in our North American environment have tended to be more insular, and they haven't stepped outside of their comfort zones, if you would. There's groups of people who are so busy insisting that this is the only way we can be. We don't take the time to open our doors. We don't take the time and initiative to walk through a different set of doors. And the Muslim community has learned in the last 15, 20 years that interfaith dialogue is a great way to spread a different narrative. So we have to own our narrative. It's not about going out in the community and telling people how Muslims are or what they believe. It's about living the values so that people in the community see you as a positive, productive, and engaged citizen. instead of insisting that I can only interact with the Muslim community. So when we
Excellent.
see people getting involved in the school boards, when we see people working in the community, feeding the homeless, doing something that adds value to society outside of your immediate community, you humanize the Muslim image. And Islamophobia is in part reaction to the insularity. And that is very easy for us to step outside of our comfort zone and address directly.
Yes, mentioned important issues. So, Martin, I want to know your ideas. I know you're active, you are going places, and you're doing things. But what do you think? Two things. What do you want to see from non-Muslim groups of being of their reaction against you, and what do you think that we need to do as Muslim community to engage more?
I think, yes, I think the Muslim community can be more active in trying to reach out and their social works. And I think some of the mosques that I've been attending here, like the MAPS has a chapter, MAPS Amen, and the Iman Center are trying a lot to bridge these gaps. And there are lots of partnerships that they're producing, for example, with other churches and synagogues. They're organizing events such as Faith Over Fear. So I think it really depends on that the community, whether they are trying to reach out or not. And some of them are doing a better job than others. And I think it's also important that the burden doesn't only fall on Muslims trying to do this only, that because they are the minority here and they are new here. So also they are doing their part as well, and they should do a lot more, but also that other churches or other organizations try to reach out and develop those organizations. And there are many that are happening, but maybe it can become more of a reciprocal one. And something else that we also have to remember about Muslims in the United States is that they're much newer to the USA than, for example, than our Jewish brothers and sisters. So they're really working hard at just sustaining their livelihood and learning the language and making ends meet. So they are really still, a lot of them are newcomers, and they're at the earlier stages of just implementing themselves into United States. So that's why maybe we also see that they are not so involved, because it could be because of many reasons, just working several shifts to make ends meet and learning the language and just raising kids. So they are really recent to this environment, and they're just trying to fit in. So I think we have to also take that into consideration and not have the exact same, expectation as our brothers and sisters in, the Jewish faith and the Christian faith.
Excellent point. Excellent point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So please stay with me here. You are listening to Peace Mindedly, a podcast show featuring peaceful bridge makers. And I think Sheryl did a good job of telling us how to find information about Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom. So it's sosspeace.org. There is a wealth of information about the organization, what they stand for, and everything. So please do check their website. It's lots of information also on goldtune.com. Goldtune is a news magazine. Matin is one of the editors. We manage the news magazine covering stories about peace and lifestyle. So for this program, the headline of the story is Sheryl Sheryl Olitzky, Sara Haidar, and Julie Plaut Warwick talk about Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom. What I'm going to do is tomorrow I'm going to edit the audio portion of this conversation and then post it on Gold Tone with the quotes and important sayings that my guest has been mentioning throughout the program. So please do check us. Also, if you're listening, we are live streaming our conversation on Facebook. I just wanted to mention very quickly, I'm so grateful for the people who are coming and who are investing their time to listen to us and to learn from our guests. Parisa Behzadpour mentioned about education and about early education. And she's a teacher. I know Parisa, and she says that, it's very important to, I'm just going to read it. As an educator, I still am heartbroken to see us as teachers, special white teachers, are not emphasizing enough due to lack of knowledge how tricky white supremacy and discrimination is laying in background and emerges into small activities we engage in every life. So basically, she is mentioning that it's our job to educate the public about the privilege that the white Americans are enjoying. And I think honestly, with the George Floyd and with what's happening in the country, many of the white Americans are taking bold actions, joining the demonstrations, joining the protests, and just being supporting the minority groups, especially African Americans and Black. I truly appreciate many of my fellow white citizens who've been on the front line fighting against injustice. If it was not for them, the movement could not move as the way it's moving right now. So you are listening to Peace Mindedly. At the end of the program, I ask my guests to close the program with something meaningful about peace, kindness, compassion. Sheryl shared her ideas, and I'm going to go to Sara and then to Julie to tell us about what they think about, what they want us to leave this conversation when we listen to the audio. So tell us what you would like to share with us about peace and compassion.
So when we think about what peace means at an individual level, and I'm going to refer to Julie's comment that you have to strive for inner peace first before you can go out in the world and build peace. And it's the same thing with relationships. If you have a comfortable relationship with yourself, you're going to be able to have a positive and comfortable relationship with those outside of yourself. So what do we need to do to create inner peace and exude it outwards? The first thing is I derive a lot of inspiration from our Islamic faith process, where taking action to restore justice, taking action to bring kindness and positive sentiment into the world is very important. We have to do our part in valuing ourselves and the value of life outside of ourselves. And if we value the right to life of all individuals, after we value our own life in the process, we create the space for others to feel safe around us. That's how we create safety in the world. That's how we create peace and harmony in the world. You know, if you walk into a room and everybody shuts down conversation and starts staring at you, that's a very uncomfortable circumstance. But if you are walking into a space where everyone welcomes you with a smile and with positive gestures and engages in conversation, empathetically listens to you, you automatically start feeling comfortable and at peace in that environment. And that's how, little by little, we build with those building blocks to build a larger scale world in every interaction. So the work starts with self, then with your home, then with your community, then with the world. And we can all take those steps along the way.
Absolutely. Every time we talk about laughter and smile, I think about Julie. Julie, so what do you want us to take away from the conversation?
I should tell you all to laugh, but besides that, as a little girl, I was taught Tzedek, tzedek tirdof. It's justice, justice you shall pursue. And it's written in the Torah, justice, justice you shall pursue. And so the idea of justice, the idea of peace, that I don't want to walk into a room, just like Sara was saying, and have people say, oh, that's the Jewish girl. She's wearing the necklace that either has a Jewish star on it, or whatever that says that I am Jewish. When I moved here, and I'm going to go a little back to what Mateen said, when I moved here 26 years ago, there was nothing, nobody knew about Judaism or in the stores and anything. And we've had this conversation. And I used to educate people, and I used to always wear my Jewish star and say, this is what you need for Passover. This is what we'd like to have for Hanukkah. And then the education was the most important thing. And we're getting there, but my Muslim sisters need to work hard on educating other people as well. And I would love to be able to help them in that process. Peace is, for me, stepping across the aisle, knowing that we are all human beings, that we are all on this planet, and that we all need to take a huge, deep breath and smile.
Absolutely. Mateen, do you want to share something about peace and what we take away from this conversation?
I think everyone said really what's there. I just think really cooperation between everyone. What Julie said, really taking yourself out of your comfort zones to try to, and I've done that. And I do tell a lot of other Muslims that you should ask for what you want. You should ask to be represented. And sometimes you do need to you really ask for you to be included in things, and but also just cooperation and kindness are the basics of human relationship. And I think even the worst of situations, people can always try to see the positive in something, or try to see the positive in someone else, and try to draw on that, and to build, great relationships with other people and find commonality with other people.
Yeah.
So,
yes. Yes, absolutely. Very good. Excellent. So I communicate, collaborate, cultivate our own voices and set up. Sara told me in the private message. Thank you so much, Sara. Appreciate it. It's been a wonderful discussion. Thank you very much for being here, for being my honored guests. Thank you, Mateen. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Sara. Thank you, Sheryl.
Thank you, Sara. This has been fabulous.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Great meeting everyone and seeing everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Khoda Hafiz.
Khoda Hafiz. Bye-bye.
End the broadcast. Woohoo.